He didn't go to Hollywood to become famous. He went because he genuinely had no other plan. And somehow, that accidental energy turned him into the most talked about actor on the planet right now. This is Timothée Chalamet. And honestly, by the end of this video, you're going to understand why the whole world can't stop watching him. But before we get into the glamour and the movies and the awards, I want to start with something nobody really talks about. The version of Timothée that almost didn't make it. Born on December 27, 1995 in New York City. But here's what makes his background unusual. He's genuinely half American, half French. His father is a French journalist and translator. His mother is an American actress and dancer who appeared in a French TV show. So Timothée grew up bouncing between Manhattan and Le Chambon-sur-Lignon, a small village in France. French summers, New York winters. He was bilingual before he could fully read. And this duality, this between two worlds energy, you can feel it in almost every performance he gives. There's always something slightly foreign about him on screen, even when he's playing a completely normal American kid. He went to Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School in Manhattan, the famous performing arts school, the one they based the movie Fame on. Beyoncé went there. Nicki Minaj went there. Al Pacino. This isn't just some regular drama club. This is a place where if you're mediocre, you get eaten alive. And Timothée, he thrived. He was doing theater at 12, getting small TV roles by 15. He appeared in episodes of Homeland. He was in a short film. He was grinding before anyone knew his name. But even with that early momentum, there were years where nothing was happening. Years of auditions, rejections, near misses. He talked about this in interviews, how there were stretches where he genuinely questioned if he could make it. And that self-doubt? That's important to remember when we get to what happened next. Because what happened next is one of the most sudden, dramatic career launches in recent Hollywood history. And it started with a movie that most studios didn't even want to make. In 2017, director Luca Guadagnino cast Timothée in Call Me By Your Name, a quiet, slow, gorgeous Italian summer love story. No explosions. No big action sequences. Just a 21-year-old American kid on screen for most of the film, doing almost nothing. And he was absolutely magnetic. The movie premiered at Sundance, and people lost their minds. Critics called it a revelation. His performance as Elio, a 17-year-old falling in love during a summer in northern Italy, was raw, tender, and painfully real. You believed every single emotion on his face without him saying a single word. He got an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. He was 22 years old. He became the third youngest Best Actor nominee in Oscar history. Just to put that in context, this guy went from small TV roles and audition rooms to Oscar nominee in what felt like a single year. After that, every major director in Hollywood wanted him. And here's what makes Timothée's choices interesting. He didn't just take the biggest paycheck roles. He was deliberate. He did Lady Bird with Greta Gerwig, where he played a supporting role even though he could have been a lead anywhere else. He did Beautiful Boy, playing a drug addict alongside Steve Carell, another brutal, physically demanding performance. He did Little Women, again with Greta Gerwig, as the beloved Laurie. Every role different. Every role a stretch. He was building a career, not just a filmography. Because the real turning point, the moment that turned him from an Oscar darling into a genuine global superstar, came when he stepped into one of the most complicated, pressure-filled roles in modern cinema. And a lot of people thought he was going to fail. Denis Villeneuve's Dune. The year is 2021. This is one of the most beloved science fiction stories ever written. Frank Herbert's novel has a rabid, passionate fan base. David Lynch tried to adapt it in 1984, and it was a disaster. Now Villeneuve was taking another shot, and he chose Timothée, this slim, poetic indie actor, to play Paul Atreides, the messiah figure at the heart of the story. People were skeptical. Could he carry a massive blockbuster? Could he command the screen in a $165 million epic? The answer, it turned out, was yes. Dune made $400 million worldwide on a pandemic release. Timothée became the face of the biggest sci-fi franchise in years. Dune Part 2, released in 2024, made over $700 million globally. He had fully crossed over from art house darling to mainstream blockbuster star without losing any of the credibility that made him special in the first place. That is almost impossible to do. Most actors lose one or the other. He kept both. And then he did Wonka, a musical, a prequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where he plays a young Willy Wonka learning his craft. Critics expected camp. They got warmth. The movie was charming, commercially massive, over $600 million worldwide, and Timothy sang, danced, and did physical comedy with the same ease he does existential grief. At this point, it's becoming clear that there is almost nothing this guy can't do on screen. But here's what actually makes him fascinating beyond the movies. Because his life off-screen is somehow even more interesting than his career. And one relationship in particular put him on a completely different level of public attention. In 2023, Timothy and Kylie Jenner were seen together, at events, on dates, at the US Open. The internet lost its mind. Two of the most talked about young celebrities on the planet, in each other's orbit. It felt like a cultural collision. His indie artsy world crashing into the Kardashian universe. Whether they were officially together or not, the media attention was enormous. And what's interesting is how Timothy handled it. He didn't lean into it for publicity, he didn't use it. He kept giving serious interviews about his craft. He kept making serious films. He maintained his identity as an actor first, celebrity second. And that kind of discipline, that refusal to let the gossip machine define you, is actually rare in Hollywood at his level. He also became a genuine fashion icon. Not in the wear the nice suit to the premiere way, in the way that designers fight to dress him. He wore a backless halter suit to an award show, and it became one of the most photographed looks in recent memory. He's the face of Haider Ackermann's new era at Tom Ford. He shot campaigns for Bleu de Chanel. He has the kind of body language and confidence in front of a camera that makes him look like he was born to wear things that would look strange on anyone else. Style critics call him the most influential fashion figure of his generation. And when you see him, you understand it. There's something about the way he holds himself that feels effortless, even when the outfit is deliberately weird. But let's talk about the real question. Why him? Why? In a generation full of talented young actors, has Timothée Chalamet risen to this specific level? I think it comes down to three things. First, emotional authenticity. He never looks like he's acting. Even in big genre films, he finds the human moment inside the spectacle. Second, taste. His film choices reflect genuine artistic curiosity, not just career strategy. He works with the best directors in the world because they want him, and he picks them because he wants to grow, not just be famous. Third, timing. He arrived at a moment when audiences were hungry for a certain kind of male lead. Not the stoic action hero, not the comedian. Something more sensitive, intelligent, complicated. He filled that space perfectly, and he filled it before anyone else figured out it existed. And here's what's insane. He's 28 years old. He's been doing this for less than a decade at the highest level. The movies coming up on his slate right now suggest he's not even close to the peak of what he's capable of. A complete unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic directed by James Mangold, has him playing one of the most mythologized musicians in American history. Dylan fans are notoriously protective. And from what we've seen in trailers and early buzz, Timothy doesn't just imitate Dylan. He inhabits him. He learned to play guitar and harmonica for real. He spent months studying footage. Early word from people who've seen it is that it might be his best performance yet, which, considering what he's already done, is a genuinely absurd sentence to write. Timothée Chalamet is not famous because he got lucky. He's famous because he's genuinely, undeniably, stupidly talented, and because at 22 years old, he made one perfect movie that showed the world what he could do, then spent the next 6 years making sure that wasn't a fluke. He is, right now, the most interesting actor working in Hollywood. And we're probably still in the early chapters of whatever this career becomes. If you want a deep dive on another actor who came up through a completely different path but with a similar intensity, the next video is right there. Drop a comment telling me which Timothy movie hit you hardest. I'll read every single one. And if you've been watching for a while and haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. See you in the next one.